Hello, Hoop Monitor users. This support video, we're going to go over how to set up the auto templates within the campaign builder. This video is going to assume that you already have some experience using the pre-build templates. So notice if I click on New Template within Campaign Builder, it does give the option now for both a pre-build template, which is what we've always had available, and the auto templates. The difference between the two, flipping over to my deck, is that auto templates, instead of building out campaign structure in advance based on that make model library that's maintained in the system, these instead will build out campaign structure, the ad groups, the ads, and the keywords based on the inventory feed for each day and what vehicles come into that feed that don't currently have structure within the AdWords campaign. So for example, if the dealer has never had a Hummer H2 in inventory before, and the first one arrives on the lot and gets in the feed as of today, then today the auto template would notice that and go and build a new ad group with ads and keywords for that Hummer H2, but not until it came on the lot for the first time. So very different from the pre-build templates that create everything in advance. So now that we understand what they are, let's go through the process of setting them up. The first thing that we're going to need to do in some situations is to request the activation of an inventory feed. And you're only going to have to do this if you're working with a dealership that isn't already set up for inventory feeds. So if you've already requested and have dynamic display feeds running for your dealership account, you don't need to do anything further as far as requesting a feed to work with the campaign builder auto templates. It will work automatically. But if you don't, such as with this Maxwell Ford, it doesn't have any display feeds enabled, you will need to email support. And like with my sample email down here, just say, hey, could you please enable some auto template inventory feeds for, and put in the specific dealer name that you would like it activated for. And as always with any support request, make sure that you spell and put the dealer's name in the same way as you have it, in the interface. Otherwise, sometimes it gets hard for us to find those. So once you've done that, in this situation, the demo account I'm going to use, Mount Ephraim, already has display feeds, so I don't need to request the activation of an additional display feed. I can move on to the next step, and that's creating a campaign container. Because unlike the pre-build templates, where the template actually creates the campaigns for you, with the auto templates, you need to have one created in advance, and you're going to specify which one that template, which campaign that template should be inserting new ad groups, ads, and keywords into. So let's go into, I'm going to get down here into AdWords Editor. You can create your new campaign in either Editor or AdWords itself. I personally find it a lot easier in AdWords Editor. So I'm going to create a new search campaign, and I'm just going to call this Auto Template Demo Campaign. And you're going to want to make sure all your settings are in place. Don't forget to go and update your location settings, assign any ad extensions that you're going to want to use. The same stuff you'd always do for any campaign. But once you do have that ready, make sure it is posted up to AdWords itself. Okay, so that is now in AdWords. I'm glad I wrote this down. Don't forget to set up your ad customizer feeds before using ad customizer variables. So that's for our, we have 3 Honda Accords starting at $15,000. Just like with the pre-build templates, if you try to put that, squiggly equals vehicles dot count close squiggly in your ads, it's going to expect that you already have the vehicles business data feed in AdWords. So don't forget to do that one important step if you're using ad customizers. Let's go back into the campaign builder. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new template from scratch for Mount Ephraim, but we could also go into an existing auto template like this one And just as we do with the pre-builds, we could copy that for a new dealership and just change what's different. I'm going to go ahead and create this one from scratch. Select Auto Template, template name. I'm going to call this Mount Ephraim Auto Template Demo, and select my dealer. Okay, so it's just pinged the AdWords account now that I've selected the dealership, and now we can see all of the campaigns within that AdWords account here, including the brand new auto template demo campaign that I just created in AdWords. And that's the one we are going to use for this auto template. Back up here to template information though, a couple other things that are important to note here. We have the email notifications. This is required. You're going to want to put in an email address for where you're going to want your error report set, because every time this runs, and it will run nightly, once it's completed, it will send a error report to whatever email address you put in here. You can put multiple addresses in here separated by a comma. And that's how you're going to know if everything made it through fine, or if you might have to deal with something that was rejected, possibly for a policy violation or something like that, meaning you need to go in and either update your template or update the ad manually in AdWords. So that's your address for notifications. The filters will also be important. I'm going to do an example dynamic used inventory campaign. So I definitely would want to uncheck new here to only consider the new vehicle, or I'm sorry, the used vehicles and the certified used that it finds in the feed. But if I was doing a new campaign, dynamic campaign template, you do it just the opposite, of course. And you can also add other filters. So if, for example, you're creating a dynamic new campaigns, this is a Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram dealership, and maybe you want a separate campaign for each of those makes. So I might just go ahead and say for the one I select, the campaign I created just for Jeeps, I'm going to now filter just Jeeps in here. So you could do that if you'd like. For this one, I'm just going to have it do everything for all the used and certified used vehicles. Okay, so now we can move down to the rest of the template, which is essentially the same thing as what we would do in a pre-built template. So I'm going to kind of move fast through this, knowing that most everybody should have experience with the pre-build templates. If not, go back and take a look at the support video for those pre-builds, and it will fill you in on what you're missing here. But I'm going to do segmentation at the ad group level for make and model. I'm going to create a new ad and just select whatever I've used before. In stock today, let's put an alternate in and come take a test drive. Got a lot of inventory, and call today. And then for our final URL, still one of the most important pieces of our template. I already had it ready in Notepad over here, so let me just go ahead and copy that, paste it into here. And I'm just going to do this one ad, but of course, just as with the pre-build templates, you could have as many ads as you'd like. For keywords, I'm just going to put in one since this is a demo, but again, as with the pre-build, you could have as many keywords as you'd like. And then I'm just going to go ahead and save this now, mostly to illustrate the difference between save and apply, which I'm going to cover over here as well. So we've already created our campaign container, and we've already gone through pretty much everything in this slide except for the last bullet point here. We did create a new auto template. We selected the campaign container that we wanted to use. We applied one filter by taking out the new vehicles, and we did complete the ad group naming, ads, and keywords section, same way we do with the pre-build templates, but I just clicked save. So all that happened that first time is I saved it. Nothing's going to happen until the automatic nightly updates, in which that will automatically run. But you do have some other options in here. So let me get back into the one we just created. Actually, that would be the Mount Ephraim. There it is, Mount Ephraim Auto Template Demo. If I go in here, Okay, if you do not want this to run, oh, I'm not done. I haven't added all my keywords. I need to add another ad. I don't want it to run overnight. That is fine. You can deactivate it and then come in and activate it after you're finished. And then conversely, you could leave it active and say, I want it to run right now. And that is what the save and apply is for. So right now, if we come in here to I'm going to go back to all campaigns, and we've got our new, let me hit refresh to make sure I've got this updated. Okay, so I've got my auto template demo campaign, which is the one we just created. And if I go into this one, it has no ad groups because we only created that shell. But now we can do the save and apply. So let me go back into here, save and apply, confirm. That is running. It runs very quickly. Shouldn't take any longer than 2 to 3 minutes. And typically it runs much faster than that. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot by right now doing a refresh. And now we see ad groups. Let's take a look at how many. 80 ad groups. So if we would have done this with a pre-build template running off the library and we didn't apply any make filters, it would likely come out with somewhere around 750 ad groups for every make model combination that was in that default library, unless you've created a new one or made edits to it. But this one only created 80 because it only created those for the vehicles in the feed. So everything that it did create an ad group for here, they should have an inventory right now. And we can go ahead and check that. I'll just run to the top, take the first one, Accurate MDX, it built out one of those. There's our one keyword that we created in the template. Move over to the ads. There's our one ad that we created. If we click on the ad, sure enough, it goes to a Accurate MDX. And of course, you could have this segmented by year as well, or even down to the trim level if you would like. There's actually some more flexibility in what fields you can use in the auto templates, but still, primarily you're going to be using the year, make, model, and trim variables. And one of the big advantages of the auto templates, if you do a lot of segmentation, for example, you might have dynamic use campaigns that are being segmented by year, make, and model, and you've got a year range that is going back 20 years, you likely have a really huge campaign with possibly over 10,000 different ad groups in it, and that can become very unwieldy. So this is a nice alternative if you do have a lot of segmentation like that, because in this situation, it would only create as many ad groups as they have year, make, model combinations in today's inventory. And so you can keep it a lot tighter and a lot smaller. The disadvantage on the flip side is the fact that it is going to be creating these and creating new ad groups, ads, keywords every day based on that inventory feed. So you are going to have to review those error reports every day, because it's certainly not unlikely that some of those ads will get rejected or some of those keywords would get rejected for things like policy violations. Like I'm sure we're all familiar with the Acura MX or RX, Acura RX not getting through because Google sees the RX and thinks, oh, this is prescription drug related content, and rejects. So those are the type of things you're going to have to update and watch for every day and fix. But other than that, it's a very nice solution. Let me go ahead and move back to the deck here, because we do have a couple other things that we would want to take a look at. And the first is the error reports. So back in the interface, we do have error reports. You can see these in the interface, but they take a while to actually get in here. You're going to get your email error report first, and this is what the email error reports look like. And this will get to you usually within a few minutes after you've done the update or save and apply and made that update, and you'll also get them nightly when these are run automatically, and they're going to show you how many ad groups were created, how many ads were created, how many keywords, and if there were any errors. So very important that you take a look at those, and then from within the interface, you will also be able to see them in here. And that's how you're going to know if there were any problems or rejections. And then the very last thing is talking about template revisions. And for template revisions, let me hop into a template so we can better understand this. And again, let me find my Mount Ephraim Auto Template Demo. Hop into that. Let's say, for example, we need to make a change to an ad. So instead of, come take a test drive, we want that to say, come get a test drive. And that's very important to make that change. The system needs to make a decision whether it should go in and remove the previous ad and create a whole new ad because we made the change, or if it should go into the existing ads and just make a change to the one text line that we updated. In other words, for headline 3, just change it from come take a test drive to come get a test drive, leaving that ad intact. And the way it decides whether or not it's going to remove and create something new or just update the existing entity is based off these primary keys. So at each level, ad groups, ads, and keywords, there are primary keys where if one of the primary keys is changed, then it's going to remove the previous version and create an entirely new one. So in the case of ads, headline 1, headline 2, and final URL would be the 3 fields in ads. If I change either one of those 3, it will remove the previous ad and create a new one. Also, ad groups, it's not a field within the ads, but if you're making an update to your ad group name, then it will also remove the previous ads that were in the other ad group and create new ads in the new one. So that's how it's going to decide whether it's going to replace or just update. In our situation, what I did right here, come get a test drive, that was headline 3, not one of the primary keys. So now it's going to go in there, and instead of creating an entirely new ad, it's going to just update that one line. So why don't I go ahead and do that? I'm going to hit the save and apply. And with that running, and if I go in here and maybe I can get in before it makes that change. Okay, I did. Come take a test drive, and hopefully it's gone through by now. Let me hit refresh. Okay, and now it says come get a test drive, and if I do all and include removed, you see there was no previous ad that was removed, and this one replacing it, it just updated the headline 3 within this one. Okay, and that pretty much concludes everything that you need to know about setting up and using your auto templates.